Well, look, you have to look at the history of how Indians went to South Africa. It was during the British period, during colonialism. As you know, slavery was abolished by the British in 1834, but they had to find other forms of labor to supplement the slave labor. So then they came up with the idea of indentured labor. And India, as the largest country in the British Empire, provided ready labor, especially in the agricultural sector, where they were looking for labor in countries that were sugar producing countries. So in 1834, they started the system of indentured labor, where Indians were shipped to various parts of the British Empire, starting with Mauritius in 1834 and to several of the Caribbean countries thereafter, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, and some of the smaller Caribbean islands, as well as South Africa. In 1860, they started the indenture system with South Africa and Fiji. Between 1860 and 1911, 152,000 Indians were taken from India to South Africa as indentured laborers. And my ancestry is part of this. One of the things that I think we're fortunate is that there were good records kept of the movement of Indians. So we call it the ship list. So you could trace when your ancestors left, from where they left, and when they arrived in South Africa. So I was able to, through the archives, and we have good archives in South Africa, determine that my great-grandparents left in 1892, arrived in January 1893 in the province I live in, KwaZulu-Natal, and were assigned to a sugar plantation on the southern coast of KwaZulu-Natal, where my great-grandparents worked on the sugar plantation. So that's my history. And they, of course, according to the records, they left from a village in Ghazipur in UP.
In UP, sir.
In UP. So recently I had the occasion to visit Ghazipur, where I was chief guest for the Ghazipur Literary Festival. And through the help of a local organization, the Gurmatya Foundation, one of them, and several others, including the organizers of the Ghazipur Literary Festival, they managed to trace the village, and my wife and I went there to visit the village. I think it's important to know your roots. I think that's those of us that have been uprooted from any community, any part of the world. I think there's always a desire to know the origins of your ancestry. So we were very fortunate that we found this village, which is about an hour's drive from Ghazipur and about an hour's drive from Varanasi. And we were able to go there. And it was a very emotional journey for us, knowing that that's where our ancestors left from, and to just be in the village. And the people that saw us there inquired why we are there, and when they heard that our ancestry was from there, many of them all came to meet us and very warmly received us. So for me, it was also an important part of being stationed in India to get this opportunity to find the roots of my ancestry. And I'm very fortunate in that sense that I'm South African, born and raised in South Africa. So Africa is part of my being. But at the same time, I have a history. My ancestry is Indian. And my whole cultural background is from an Indian cultural background, colored with Africa. So it's a meeting of two worlds, and harmonious blending of two worlds that you see in me. And I'm very privileged that I've been posted here by my country to forge closer relations between South Africa and India, and having this background that I have straddling two worlds and belonging to both in many senses. It's a great privilege.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. We got to know many things from your experience. Sir, we would like to know that recently Mr. Modi visited South Africa for G20 meeting. And before that, in 2019, the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, he visited India as a chief guest on our Republic Day. And according to Mr. Modi, 21st June is the International Day of Yoga. And we got to know, sir, in South Africa, we got the gathering of 8,000 people during the Yoga Day. Please tell us about whether yoga is popular in India or not, sir.
Well, yoga is very popular in South Africa because you have a very strong Indian presence in South Africa. So, in terms of culture, religion, language, food, the presence of the Indian community is very pervasive. It's not just contained within the Indian community of South Africa. It percolates amongst all communities. So you will find the Indian cuisine very popular amongst all communities. Bollywood movies, the soap operas that you have on Zee TV, Sony and so forth, is not just watched by Indians. In fact, on the paid TV platform DSTV, I was informed by Zee Africa. Zee Africa has offices in Johannesburg.
In Johannesburg, okay.
It's the second most popular station on paid TV because a number of the your serials are dubbed into the Zulu language. So they broadcast throughout the day, all your serials.
Okay, all Indian serials.
All Indian serials, very popular amongst the majority African community, dubbed into Zulu and not just watched by the Indian community. So you can see the role that culture plays in cementing ties across races and across nations as well. I think in South Africa that's very visible. So yoga, of course, International Yoga Day is today, as the words say, it's international. And it's been gaining in popularity, not just amongst the Indian community. You would have seen that most recently when it was International Yoga Day in South Africa, at one venue you had over 8,000 people of all races assembled for International Yoga Day. And the Premier, which is the equivalent of your Chief Minister of KwaZulu-Natal, was the chief guest, and he spoke about the importance of yoga. So yoga has spread throughout the country, and it's not just in one venue. In different parts of the country, you have gatherings on International Yoga Day where people get together and observe International Yoga Day.
Oh, thank you so much for this, your explanations about the Yoga Day celebration in South Africa. Sir, in South Africa, there are many foods which are popular in the world. In the drink side, if we go, there is a rooibos drink, which is very popular all over the world. Apart from that, there are some dishes like bani chow, chakalak, boboti. So, are these dishes vegetarian or non-vegetarian, sir?
Well, it's a mixture of both. Chakalaka generally is vegetables. It's a vegetable-based dish that's traditionally South African, very popular amongst all communities. Boboti is mainly the Cape Malay community. Its roots are from the Malaysian peninsula, when you had the movement of what started off as prisoners from the Malaysian peninsula to South Africa, and later a community, a very vibrant community in South Africa today whose roots are from Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia. Boboti is a national dish amongst them, but today all South Africans know about boboti. Bani chow is a typically Indian dish, but today it's served and enjoyed across provinces, across races, across communities. It has a very interesting history. The word Bani comes from the term Banya,
Okay.
You know, in South Africa, they refer to the Gujarati community as the Banya community.
Banya community. Yes, sir.
And by and large, they were a community of traders that came when Gandhi went, as what we call the indentured Indians were called passenger Indians. Those that came not as indenture, but through their own means, paid their own fare. They were called passenger Indians. And many of them came from Gujarat as traders to provide services to the indentured community. And many of them had small restaurants, shops serving food for the laborers. Now, of course, under apartheid regime, the black community, including Indians, were regarded as blacks. You couldn't go and sit in a restaurant.
Okay.
It was reserved for the white community. But they created a takeaway outlet. But how do you serve food, especially curry, that can be taken out and eaten at your workplace or in the park or wherever? So what they did, they took the loaf of bread, they cut it into 4 parts, 4 quarters, and they dug the inside out, the soft part, and they filled it with whatever curry. It could be a vegetarian, it could be a rajma, it could be a mutton curry or a chicken curry. They filled the curry in and put the soft part back on, wrapped it in paper, so people could take it and sit outside and eat, because you couldn't sit inside a restaurant. And that became a very popular dish. Today, it is a national dish throughout South Africa. And it's no more a poor man's food. If you go to 5-star hotels in South Africa and top restaurants, you can order bani chow as well. So it's a very popular dish enjoyed across all communities in South Africa.
Thank you so much, sir. And you told us the recipe also, how we can prepare it.
So when you go to South Africa, if you don't eat a bani chow, you are missing something special in South Africa.
Very good, sir. Thank you so much for this type of things we did not know in India. You edited Nidan, this is a magazine, and you have written many articles. And in India, sir, we have in India South Africa Chamber of Commerce, and recently you have done MOU with Kalinga Institute, KIT, and Department of African Studies in Delhi University, where majority of the PhD scholars, they have focused South Africa as their specialty, sir.
Yes, Delhi University, of course, is the first university in India to have established the Department of African Studies. And this year they celebrated the 70th anniversary. And I think India was way ahead of its time globally in terms of focusing on Africa. The fact that you have at the university a fully fledged African Studies department that has been then in existence since 1955, that says a lot about the closeness between India and Africa. And within the Department of African Studies, just at Delhi University, you have a large number of PhD students focusing on the African continent. But the majority of them, the studies at the PhD level is focused on topics on South Africa. In fact, we had 20 of them here visit the embassy in order to exchange views with us and share the topics they are studying and to see how we can also assist them. And I'm very pleased to say that 2 of those students are visiting South Africa, and we've been able to get appointments for them to interview people, to stay with the organizations and so forth. So we're very encouraged, and we'd like to see more and more students specializing in African studies, including South Africa. Because as you know, India and Africa, we have a very special relationship. In fact, when Prime Minister Nehru was at the first Asia-Africa Summit in Bandung in Indonesia in 1955, also 70 years ago, he referred to Africa and Asia sister continents. And we are, in many senses, very closely related. And India of course, has the India-Africa Forum Summit, and next year they will host that summit. Prime Minister Modi, including current President Murmu, have been to Africa several times, and you had several African heads of state, including, as you mentioned, President Ramaphosa coming here, former President Zuma came here, President Mandela came more than once to India.
You are right.
So it's a very close relationship.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your insights over India and South Africa relationship. And sir, there are many Indians who would like to work in South Africa. As you know that one South Africa rand is equivalent to 5.29 Indian rupees. And there are many students who would like to study there. As we have, in India, we have a scholarship program from ICCR.
Yes.
And there are some other programs like iTech.
Yes.
In which Indian government provides scholarship for the South Africa students. So, for the Indian people, sir, is there any opportunity or there are anything else that Indian people would like to work in South Africa? What are the opportunities for Indian people as a businessman or as a student, sir?